At the bottom of page 5 in your gas laws practice packet are 4 different unit conversions. The top of the page is titled Boyle's Law, and it has questions A and B. At the bottom of the page, labeled page 5, you only have 4 unit conversions that you're going to focus on today. Once you're done with these 4, this is the page, specifically this section, is what you're going to take a picture of and submit it online. If you notice, what I've done is at the top of the page, I've listed out all of the unit conversions from my formula sheet. That way I don't have to look back and forth, and hopefully it'll make it a little bit easier for you to do. Please also make sure that you have a calculator out as well. So I'm going to start with this first question right here. I'm going to focus on converting 852 millimeters of mercury to ATM. So remember, 852, this is 3 sig figs. I'm trying to go from units of millimeters of mercury to units of ATM. So my ideal conversion factor that I'm going to use at this time would be units that include millimeters of mercury and ATM. And so when I go to do my work, remember, I always want to start with my data. And I want to convert from units of millimeters mercury to units of ATM. And so my conversion factor that I've outlined in red is going to be the conversion factor that I'm going to focus on for this problem. I want millimeters of mercury to cancel, so I'm going to put 760 millimeters of mercury in my denominator and 1 ATM in my numerator. Because we're not in class and you have time right now to really try to attempt this out on your own, I'm going to just do the setup, and I'm going to leave you to do the calculation answer and finally the sig fig answer. Because this is the first one that we're focused on for right now, I'm going to go ahead and fill in the calculation answer. And so once you put this in your calculator should look back at you with a pretty long decimal value. And the number is 1.121052632. That's what your calculator should be looking back at you with. Remember, we said we wanted 3 sig figs, so my final answer in 3 sig figs will be 1.12 and my unit ATM. So what that means is that at 852 millimeters of mercury, which seems like a really huge number, that's the same equivalent answer to 1.12 ATM. I'm going to skip over to this question over here, and I'm going to do the setup. I'm going to leave you to do the calculation answer and the final sig fig answer. So this time around, I'm converting units of pascals to millimeters of mercury. So if I go back up here to what I've done is laying out all my formulas for units of pressure. There's pascals, there's millimeters of mercury. So I'm just going to connect these guys by putting together their equal sign. So that means that these two right here are equal to one another. It's as if I'm pretending that this part of torr just doesn't exist. I'm just removing that out. And I'm just focused on millimeters of mercury and pascals. So I'm going to go back here to my data, 152,345 pascals. I want to set it up so that pascals gets removed from the unit and I'm left with millimeters of mercury. And so I'm going to go ahead and write it up as 101,325 pascals in my denominator, and I'm going to put 760 millimeters of mercury in my numerator. Again, I'm going to leave the remaining part for you to complete on your own. So you're going to give me your calculation answer, and then you're going to give me your final sig fig answer with your unit. I'm going to go back to question 2. And for question 2, This time around, we have 2 sig figs, and we're trying to go from ATM to kilopascals. So right here, I have 1 ATM, and right here, I have kilopascals. So now I just connect these two together to form my own conversion factor. And I start with my data, which is 2.5 ATM. I want ATM to cancel and kilopascals to remain. So I'm going to go ahead and put 1 ATM in my denominator and 101.325 kilopascals in my numerator. So now ATMs cancel out and I'm left with kilopascals. I'm going to leave you to do the calculation answer, and again, for you to do the final answer with sig figs. So question number 4 is the question I'm leaving for you to do completely on your own. If you had watched these videos in order, then you know that in the last video, I showed you what the conversion factor is for torr to kilopascals. I'm going to show you again, just in case you're skipping videos. Here's torr, here's kilopascals. So 760 torr is equal to 101.325 kilopascals. You're going to set up the data, the conversion factor, you're going to set up your calculation answer and your final answer in sig figs. And so what you're going to submit by the end of your class time today is you're going to submit a picture of this entire page that I have for you right here. You're just going to take a picture of it and submit that. You're going to then give me your work.